All right, joining us now is researcher and political analyst Dr. Dale Mckinley, who joins us now to weigh in on the fuel price increase in February. Well, Dr. Mckinley, it seems like South Africans have bad news back to back this afternoon. I mean, our conversation is around fuel, but I just want you to weigh in on the load shedding that we're back to. I mean, we were enjoying around about 10 months of no load shedding. Just your thoughts on that?
Well, I think obviously all of us are a bit surprised because we thought, or at least we wished, that this was a sort of behind us. But I think in many ways it's not surprising because what we have is, as the minister explained, we have a little bit of a perfect storm. You've got breakdowns, you've used your energy reserves, you need the margins, and this is going to probably happen more often, a few times before we get to a point where we can say load shedding is truly behind us. I do think that we're not going to see regular load shedding that we did before, but it does show us that the weaknesses are still there and that we still haven't gotten completely, out of the tunnel, so to speak, because of the breakdowns. And I think that's the main concern, is if you have 6 breakdowns within a 2 or 3 day period, the grid basically is vulnerable. And now we're going to show this. So it's really about the maintenance budget and about making sure that what we have online is fairly predictable. And I think it has been, but we can still expect that occasionally we're probably going to get these hiccups. And it does make us feel a little bit sort of disappointed because we thought that we had left that behind us.
A lot of us are riding on what the CEO, Dan Marokana, said there in terms of, this is potentially a temporary setup, saying that, load shedding is largely behind us because of, structural improvements in generational fleet. But let's now talk about these looming fuel hikes. There was high expectation that a stronger rand and lower oil prices would save us from another fuel hike. But it seems like a weaker rand and higher oil prices are now the drivers behind this. But just unpack this for us.
Sure. So I think, the elephant in the room, so to speak, is Donald Trump in the last 2 or 3 months. So he's he's basically upset the markets because of all of his threats and unpredictabilities. And as a result of that, we're stemming from a lot of those kinds of, should we say, tremors that have come out of the Trump presidency. What has happened is the dollar has strengthened. The U.S. dollar has strengthened in particular because of his threats to basically protect the United States economy. The tech sector in particular has been going crazy on the stock markets. And as a result of that, the rand has also devalued. If you remember, we were at, I think, 17.05 about 3 months ago. And now we're hitting almost 19. That's a huge differentiation within about 2-month period. So what that means, as everybody knows, it means it's more expensive to import things and particularly fuel. So that's the one side of the equation, as most economists have mentioned. The other side is that the oil markets are very, basically what happens in oil markets only hits us a few months down the road. So while we've seen oil prices sort of go up and down, and in fact they have overall gone down over the last, let's say, year or so, the spikes in late December and early January as a result of the unpredictability of what was going to happen in the Middle East and also of Trump's threats about tariffs and other things upset the markets, and the price went up again. And what we're going to feel is that we might have a situation in 2 months where we get a small decrease, but the general trend is this gradual increases over time every few months, mostly because of the devaluation of our currency and mostly because we have absolutely no control over the international oil market and what the price differentiation is.
And of course, it brings our focus domestically again. What does it all mean? I mean, the rising fuel prices will likely push up consumer inflation, as we're hearing, which will likely reduce room for further interest rate cuts going forward. Just unpack what that means for, the ordinary South African.
Sure. I mean, we all know that fuel is at the heart of our economy, and particularly with regards to transportation. So it's not just about our personal cars, and it's going to cost us more to fill up those and trucks, but all of the goods and services that circulate in our economy: food, furniture, household goods, manufacturing, car parts, you name it. And because of the impact in our economy has been made greater over the last while because of the decline of the rail network and the increasing amount of goods and services that are used by trucks and roads. So we've become much more dependent upon that input of fuel. When that fuel goes up, all prices go up. And that, of course, hits us in the pocket. It hits us in the pocket when we go to the grocery store. It's going to hit us in the pocket with regards to our overall inflation rates of other kinds of things and goods and services, manufacturing goods and services. Even though the increase might be quite marginal, it impacts people whose budgets are already very, very tight. And so that's why the fuel increase and our desire to get away from total reliance on these imports of fuel, green our economy, create renewable kinds of energies is so important, because this will continue to happen as long as we are generally dependent upon those oil revenues or oil imports that come from other countries, predominantly from the Middle East.
Dr. Dale Mckinley, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Dr. Mckinley just weighing in there on the hefty petrol price increases that we are expecting in February. Of course, preliminary data from the Central Energy Fund shows that the price of petrol will likely go up by between 84 and 90 cents per litre, depending on the grade.